This video walks through how to solve the Big Ideas Chapter 5 review problems. You can skip ahead if there's only a few that you need help with, or you can watch the whole video. It's just a little math joke to get you started. How do you teach math to a chicken? You show it lots of examples. And couldn't leave this one out if I was talking about math and chickens. What do you call a hen who counts her own eggs? A chicken. All right, on to our problems. So, number one, find the unit rate. We have $289 for 10 gallons of gas. So we would be taking 289 divided by 10. When we work that out, you can use your calculator for any of these. Might not need it on this one. We get 28.9 miles per gallon. Second one, find the unit rate. 6 2/5 revolutions in 2 2/3 seconds. So don't get tricked up by these mixed numbers. We can still divide them. So we have 6 2/5 divided by 2 2/3. I'm going to change these into improper fractions. So I'm going to have 32/5 divided by 8/3. When we divide fractions, remember we do that keep, change, flip. So I'm going to keep my dividend, 32/5, and I'm going to change to multiplication, and then I'm going to flip to the reciprocal of my divisor, so 3/8. I like to simplify before I multiply, so I'm going to factor out the 8s. I end up with 12/5. That is 2 2/5. You could represent that as the decimal 2 4/10. Find the unit rate. We have servings compared to calories. So I really could take any of these and just do that division to find the unit rate. I'll just take 240 calories divided by 2 means there's 120 calories per serving. Number 5, tell whether the ratios form a proportion. So different ways we can look at this. We can use mental math, cross products, whatever, the multiplication property of equivalency. So I'm just going to do cross products on this one. So I would be trying to see, is 9 times 3 the same as 4 times 2? 9 times 3, 4 times 2. You can probably see that 27 does not equal 8, so these are not going to form a proportion. 5, I think I'll use cross products again to do number 5. I don't see a real easy way to do mental math, so I would be doing 12 times 33, so that's one cross product. Seeing if that is equivalent to 22 times 18. I multiply these and I get 396. 22 times 18 equals 396, so yes, these form a proportion. All right, again, another problem. So 8/50 to 8/50 to 4/10. You might be able to just really take a glance at this and see if these form a proportion, but we can use cross products, or maybe you could use mental math to see 8 divided by 2 equals 4. 50 divided by 2 does not equal 10. So this would not form a proportion. We can also see it with the cross products, which is 8 times 10, 4 times 50. That's going to be 80. This is going to be 200. So those would not be equal. Tell if these two ratios form a proportion. Again, these two look like it would make most sense for me to do cross products. So 32 times 15, trying to see if that's going to be equivalent to 40 times 12. 32 times 15 equals 480. 40 times 12, oh, that equals 480 as well. So they do form a proportion. Use the graph to tell whether x and y are in a proportional relationship. Okay, so here's all my points graphed on here. So if I connect them, they make a straight line and they pass through the origin. So x and y are in a proportional relationship. Use the table to write a proportion. So I need to pay attention to the labels in this proportion written down here on the bottom. So I'm being asked to compare penalties to penalties, minutes to the other number that we do know for minutes. So when I write this proportion, I'm going to I have to make sure that the minutes matches with my 16. Okay. And then I would have my 6 penalties, and that's going to match with my 8 minutes. Okay. Exercise number 10, again, I need to pay attention to the words, how they want me to write it. So in this one, it's songs to hours, songs to H hours. Okay, so I have to figure out what's going to match up here. So hours, so the other hours that I know would be 2.5, 2.5, okay, because I see that in my table. And then I know that my 18 songs matches up with that H, so 18 needs to go over here, and 15 needs to go with that 2.5. Question 11, solve the proportion. I'm going to solve these proportions using cross products because I know that will always work. I don't see an easy way to do mental math for this one, so I'm going to look at x times 5, so I'll end up with 5x equals 4 times 2, that's 8. I need to isolate x, so I'm going to divide by 5 since currently x is being multiplied by 5, divide by 5, x equals, so in this case, I'm going to just do that division on my calculator. I'll end up with 1 and 6/10. Could have also simplified this to be 1 and 3/5, which I know is equivalent to 6/10. All right, 5 to 12 is equivalent to y to 15. Again, I'm just going to use cross products to solve this. So 5 times 15 equals 12 times y, or 12y. So I have 75 equals 12y. Need to isolate that y, so I'm going to divide by 12, both sides. These cancel out. Y is left alone. 75 divided by 12 equals 6 and 25/100ths. Solve the proportion. 8 to 20 is equivalent to 6 to w, so again I'm just going to use my cross products. 8 times w is 8w, and then I have 20 times 6, so I end up with 8w equals 120. And divide by 8 to get that variable alone, and w equals 15. All right, little distributive property on this one. So I'm still going to use cross products, so I'm going to write this as 8 times the quantity s plus 1. 8 is being multiplied by that whole expression, that's why I'm writing it like that. And then I'm going to multiply 4 times 4 on the other side. So I'm going to distribute this out, which means 8 is going to be multiplied by s, so I'm going to have 8s, and then 8 is going to be multiplied by 1, so I'm going to have plus 8 equals 16. All right, now I have this two-step equation. My first step is to get rid of this constant, the plus 8, so I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. I'm left with 8s equals 8. I'm going to divide by 8 on both sides. S equals 1. Find the slope. So I'm going to look at the change in y over the change in x. So change in y, remember that triangle stands for change over the change in x. So I'm going to look at my 2y. So I have 1 minus that -3 is my change in y. And then I have for my x, 1 minus -3. All right, so when I do 1 minus -3, that's like adding the opposites. So this ends up to be 4 over 4 or 1. So my slope is 1. Next one again, we're going to do change in y over change in x. Okay, so I'm going to look at my y's. I have 2 minus -2. So I'm trying to find that difference, the space between 2 and -2. And then for my x's, I'll use a little different color. I have 3 and -3. So I'm going to say 3 minus -3. Okay. So when I go through and figure these out, 2 minus -2 is like saying 2 plus the opposite of -2. So I end up with +4. 3 minus -3 is 3 plus the opposite of -3, so 6. I can simplify this by dividing both the top of the ratio and the bottom of the ratio by 2, and so my slope is 2 to 3. All right, last question, 17. Find the slope of the line. Again, we're looking at the change in y over the change in x. I'm going to just draw this one out a little bit different instead of doing the calculation. So my change in y is the vertical change, the up and down change. And so I'm just going to count out my units. So here is my point, right? And so the change in y, again, is a vertical change. And so from here to here, that's 3 units. And then from my dot down here up, that's 3 units. And so my change in y is 6 total units. Okay. And then my change in x is, we have right over here, so I'm going, here's 1 unit to the right, and then this one, so change in y is that, or change in x is the horizontal change, so I'm going 2 units over here, so my change in x is 3. I mean, I can definitely do that with the math around this, so if I used those y values, I would have 3 minus -3. We know that equals +6, just like I counted out. And then if I want to use my x values to do that change, I have 1 minus -2. 1 minus -2 equals 3, just like I counted out on the graph. So my slope is 6 over 3, which simplifies to 2. So the slope of this line is 2. Have a great day.